Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of Juggernaut Bolt Action Podcast. My name is Dan, and we are recording to you just after a mini heat wave in the middle of February, or the end of February now, should I say, and the temperatures have plummeted, and I've had to turn the heating back on because I'm freezing my tits off. How's everyone else doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Life is good. We've had full spring. And back to winter.
Is anyone else feeling scared that global warming is literally killing the planet?
I'll be dead by now.
Oh, no, it's God's punishment on homosexuals.
Oh, God. Let's start this again, shall we? Bloody hell.
Isn't that semi-ironic coming from you, Chef, of all people? Especially after your dressing issues from last week.
It was meant to be ironic.
Of all of us as well, you look most like the characteristic gay.
Silence is the correct response to that. What the heck do you mean? At least I don't look like the rejected Chuckle Brother.
I just thought I was assuming you look like the guy from like a Duran Duran video or something.
Oh, I see.
No. What's new then? What's happened since the last month? Or at least,
Well,
are we
good news. We're no longer in your bedroom. We don't know if you're in your pants. We're no longer there. Don't need that.
That said, after the last mini-sode, we all got together and we had a bit of a rant at Warlord Games' expense. We bitched, we whinged about the pack, and I just want to sincerely apologise on behalf of the Juggernaut Bolt Action podcast because I subjected you all to the image of me in my underpants, and I just don't think that no one deserves that. No one deserved that.
Yeah, we won't be paying for counselling, so just go swivel.
I apologise for the stuff that I said. It's not cool. My apologies.
Well, you're not really sorry, but okay.
On that note then, so the Warlord GT pack is out. In case you haven't listened to it, guys, go back and listen to episode 4.5. And if you haven't listened to it now, what the fuck are you doing?
Apparently, it's all been taken back from Warlord because we had loads. It was funny about that episode. We had so much feedback where, basically everyone was like, "Yeah, I agree with a fair few, like a lot of it, but there's a couple of points I don't agree with." And it's like, yeah, that's fine. It'd be weird if people agreed with us about everything.
Yeah,
that'd be
just
very
like
weird.
people come and say, "Hey, Toph, I agree with every single thing you said." No, get away from me, freak.
Never ever give Toph that satisfaction because he's
it's weird.
Big.
No, you don't. It's fine that you don't agree with everything. It's a discussion. That's the whole point. We aren't the be all end all. It's okay to not agree with us. In fact, I'd say it's actually encouraged to not agree with us.
Yeah.
I think you're wrong, Toph.
Good.
See what I did there.
I approve. Anyway, so what else happened? What else happens this month? LVO's happened.
It has. Las Vegas Open. Woo woo.
So come on then. I don't know anything about it. Who won?
So, as far as I'm aware, the winning list was a Japanese Stuart and Bamboo Spear Fighter spam with all the necessary shit tools like cheap officers and commissars to make everything work better. And he just spammed it in massive numbers and charged the enemy as fast as he could, and that was it, really.
I think tank platoon?
I don't think so. I think it's one of the platoons where you can take 2 of the Stuarts in one.
That'll be the Burma platoon.
Yeah.
Or the Corregidor one, but it's most likely the Burma one.
It's almost as if balancing a tournament to only allow single platoon and favour certain armies over others.
So weird.
Shh. Don't tell people.
Oh well, looks interesting. Looks good. People who went seem to have got to come back saying they've had some fun. So that's good times.
Oh, they're in Vegas. Isn't that one of the states where prostitution's legal?
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
I don't know. Would you celebrate with prostitutes if you really won your tournament or if you really lost your tournament? I don't know in which situation I'd need more prostitutes.
I mean,
No, during. In between games.
It's just foobar and you just walk off, score, come back, pull out the next dice.
So if someone's saying they're going down on someone, you need to check whether it's a male or female voice just to know who's saying it.
Hey, maybe that's what I need to do. When people will be happier to play my 23 dice Soviet list if I provide the prostitute to the opponent. So when I'm just pulling dice after dice after dice, they'll be entertained.
How do you think Luke does so well?
So hold on. Are you upgrading yourself from the Devil of Bolt Action to the Pimp of Bolt Action?
No,
the amount of people I've got into this game, maybe that is like The first hit is free.
Yeah, but you know, you're the guy that drags people in and then beats them mercilessly.
Who knows? Who knows?
He does have a lot of gold chains and a purple fur coat, so he could dress up for us.
Well, that was his wife's.
Okay, let's go.
Or was it yours, Dan? Did you leave it round there?
No, mine's yellow and orange, mate. It's completely different.
Okay, other new stuff. We have finally gotten our asses together and launched our proper gaming club. So it is no longer in my garage.
Boo.
I can have to drive every week to a new location.
The venue has heating.
Oh, woohoo!
And windows.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't
And
leave the
it's
curtains closed, though. They don't like that.
Yeah. It's got room. It's got space. It's got tables. It's got a fridge. It's got a
Lots
kettle.
of space.
It's got a Wi-Fi password that made you lot cringe.
Oh god, no!
Sheffield changed it to this on purpose just to make us cringe.
So our club is in Kirby Muxloe, which is a small little village on the outskirts of Leicester, and all listeners are welcome to join us on Tuesday evenings. Now I'm saying this because we're in the Midlands. We're about an hour away from, I don't know, 5 or 6 cities, would you say? Between Birmingham, Nottingham, Leicester, Northampton, Derby. We're about an hour away.
Yeah,
and I can just think
where
of
it's going on.
Yeah, I can just think of the amount of people in the UK that aren't fucking driving. They'll be on the wrong side of Leicester, aren't fucking driving there. Meanwhile, you got people in America and Australia who are like, drive an hour to go for a bolt action club. Yeah, I'll do that.
I mean,
No issue. But you have people in Leicester, aren't fucking getting out of bed, mate.
meanwhile in Australia, I've driven 4 hours to be here.
Yeah. Fucking lazy twats in the UK, I tell you. Tuesday nights, if you're anywhere nearby, if you want to come say hi, play with us, Tuesday nights is our club night. It used to be Wednesdays, we've moved it. So
we do have a Facebook page out there as well that was shared to the Bolt Action group and a bunch of other. Just search for Juggernaut Wargaming or Juggernaut Gaming Group. You'll find it on Facebook somewhere.
Wargaming Club.
There you go. And even if you're just coming down for one session in a blue moon, it's better than none. So come and just arrange a game beforehand and have a good time.
Yeah, be very interesting to see people, because I know there's a lot of people in the Midlands. Obviously, we're near Nottingham, home of wargaming, and we're just up the M42 from Birmingham, so good.
And we've had quite a lot of interest already. Actually, it's only been up for a week.
Yeah,
and we've had quite a few people saying, "Yeah, I'll definitely be coming down the next couple of weeks."
Yeah, the Facebook group doubled in size in about the space of an hour, which is like, oh, new people, hello guys.
there's what the hell, because they were in like Sweden or somewhere. It's like okay, whatever.
Those people are dedicated, though, Pete. They're willing to fly from Sweden for a game against the Juggers.
I mean, I use Sweden as an example. It probably wasn't Sweden.
It probably was. We've got people that listen to this podcast from all across the world at the minute.
Yeah,
so.
we're international. Remember, we've got Tasmanian listeners.
Yeah.
As if that's the end of the world. Once you reach Tasmania, that's it.
I mean,
it's
come
the
on.
final boss of the world.
Come on. What's past Tasmania? You've got Australia and New Zealand.
I was going to say New Zealand's further away.
I thought the Earth was flat and you just fall off the edge when you get to that point.
Hang on,
that's when the lizard people
documentary on
get you.
Netflix.
It was on YouTube, but yeah, close enough. Just so you know, listeners, we are not flat earthers, so let's keep going.
I'm a fat earther.
Wee.
Give me all the food.
Well, the Earth is fat, so makes sense.
Are you why there's gravity?
Yeah, that is literally me. I am I'm the turtle that goes all the way down.
Topher is so fat, Thanos had to snap twice.
Well,
just the last bit for the intro as well, guys. I think a few of us here have had a lot of us here at the Juggernaut Gaming Group have actually emailed Warlords. I know a lot of people online have emailed Warlords as well, asking for clarification on the rules pack. They have sent a blanket email out now saying we're taking everything into consideration. We'll be releasing something soon to say what everything is supposed to say. So at the minute, it's kind of a hold your horses and we'll get back to you, which could be good, could be bad. We'll wait to see whether they actually follow through with it.
Yeah, we've got months to wait. It's all good. It's all good.
We're happy. We heard from them. Even if it is a kick the ball into next week, at least they emailed us.
Yeah, it was almost a don't bother us anymore about it. We know we'll sort it when we get to it.
Please stop flooding our email inbox.
Yeah. That was just the Juggers emails.
Anyway, that's why we had a 4.5 episode, so we don't have to dominate this episode talking about GT Rules Pack. So if you're not bothered about it, go listen to 4.5. We're done. Onto the main show. Okay, guys, welcome to the first segment. We haven't done this one in a while. Bring out your filth.
Bring out your generic lists.
Bring out your filth.
Your nice and friendly lists, because we're going to Cambridge too far and it's a gaming day rather than an event, rather than a tournament. Woo!
Well, it's an event, but it's not a full-on competitive tournament. It's a game.
Yeah, it's a day out with the lads.
Yeah, it's be nice and don't be a dick.
You're gonna win a prize anyway. There's like 100 people and only 3 games to get to the top. So even if you're at the top, doesn't mean you're the best. It just means you had a good draw. So it's just a fun day. So we're not actually taking filth, but the segment's called "Bring Out Your Filth" because it is. Deal with it. It's my podcast. Don't give a fuck.
He does give a fuck. Trust me.
We've all submitted lists. It is, as of today, the 1st of March. We haven't received feedback on whether the lists have gone through or not, but it's been a week now. So I'm assuming if we haven't heard, they're all right.
No news is good news.
We got early feedback because the TO could look at them and go, no. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm just absolutely terrified of like the day before the tournament. Oh, by the way, no. It's like, fuck. But yeah, lists are all submitted, so let's go through our lists and say what we're bringing and why, what prep we've done, and generally slag each other off for the next hour. Is generally the thing. So yeah, these lists won't be as hardcore as you may be used to, because we conform to the requirements of the event we're going to. So I think they're all kind of fun. They might have a bit of a hard edge to them in that still a little bit. It's obviously still a tournament, but they're just not quite GT smashing, dick kicking, demon Topher praising level lists. Who wants to go first?
Yeah. I think we should let Sheffield go first, seeing as he's always bitching about how he's always finished higher than Pete and he's been to 2 tournaments ever.
You have set yourself up, Chef, for this tournament,
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I think that's the first thing. It's only a week away. It's the day before my birthday, so it was on my birthday last year. So it's my birthday treat that I'm allowed to go. So no, I'm excited to go and hang out, and I'm looking.
Most people get sex as their birthday treat.
Oh come on, Bolt Action is better than sex.
Say, no, as a married man like Sheffield, I understand that's not how it works, Dan.
It's all right. It's voted in for the 2nd Saturday of the month.
Sinful, Dan. It's sinful.
No, I'm looking forward to going down, and there's quite a few of us as well that are all going. So it should just be a good day for actually to get just the whole group together, getting the gang back together.
How many of us are going?
I think it's 11, isn't it?
It's 11 of us.
Yeah, I think it's 11.
Wow.
It was 10 last.
Yeah, it was 10 last year, I think. We've had a couple of new
recruits. Has someone done the maths on the percentage chance to come up against one of us in the tournament, like one of the club?
Well, hopefully you've not done it, or else it'll be 150%.
Those are good odds.
Maybe I'm counting it
about
as
8% or 9% of the
Is
total
that per
going.
round?
Yeah, well, I think there's 110-ish or 120p tickets sold, and we are 11 of them.
I didn't think it was that high. I thought it was more like 90.
Oh, is it? Oh, in that case, then it's probably more like we are about 13 or 14% of the total going there.
Hey, if you come and say hi to us, we've now got the widgets. We've
only the Juggers hosts though. The other 11, or the other 7 don't
they can all
count.
sod off. But if you come up to me, Toph, Dan, Pete, or Sheffy, all our names will be on the back of our shirts. Come and say the code word, which we'll talk about later, and you'll get a free widget and a handshake.
Yeah.
And if
The
you're
widgets
good
are
looking,
great.
handy round the corner.
Don't worry, we will have hand wash. We can do this for people.
Other handies round the corner just before you get the hookers for next time.
You said right. Anyway, we're distracting. Sheffield, what's on your list?
So I'm taking a list from the Western Desert book.
Boo!
It's not that bad. People think it's terrible. To be honest, it's a fairly tame list, but I thought that this year I'd take an armoured platoon, because I've taken infantry last 2 years. And so I've got 3 Panzer IVs and just some supporting infantry, because if you put 3 Panzer IVs in something, you don't get much else. And I think I've got 12 order dice. It's got 5 or 6 infantry squads, but it's got quite a few vehicles in it. Just a fair few of them are soft skin, 6-up little jeeps, so they're not amazing. The Western Desert rules aren't really benefiting me too much. I've not taken any Schutzen, which are the thing that people seem unjustifiably cross about being in the book, but I'm not taking any of them because I'm taking 1941. I'm not taking any of the stupid recce tanks. I'm not taking anything that jumps out as being filthy. There's no flamethrowers in my list. There's no artillery in my list. It's pretty much bog standard, big armoured fist of 3 tanks. And they're not MMG spam tanks either. They're Panzer IVs with light howitzers. So, to be fair, they're actually pretty garbage by the standards.
They are a lot of points for a light howitzer.
So you basically you've got 2 Panzer IV early war ones with the light howitzer, 1 late war one with the big gun, and then just a couple of squads and trucks, and that's it.
Yeah, to be honest, it's so quick, I can basically do it off the top of my head. So it's 3 Panzer IVs, you're exactly right, 2 with light howitzers, 1 with the heavy AT gun, and then it's...
Does that one have Tiger Fear, yeah?
Yes, it does,
You
but that's
cheesy
because...
cunt.
No, it's only because of it's only because of it's because of shoddy rules writing. So in all of the Western Desert selector lists for 1941 and 1942, you're given the option of a Panzer IV F2 special, which is the Panzer IV F1, the Type F, with a heavy AT gun stuck on it. But there are no rules in any of the Warlord supplements for that tank, and they later reclassified that tank as the Aus FG. So basically, the tank that reflects the Aus F2 in the rules is the Aus FG, and by the rules, the Aus FG has Tiger Fear. So I probably won't, if I'm playing somebody new or who's like just started the game, like I did last year, I might not count it as having Tiger Fear. I tell you what, though, if I'm playing against one of you lots, it damn well does.
So you're telling me you've got 2 F1s and an F2?
Yes.
FU.
And then I've got a truck with 2 6-man shoots and squads in it. Oh yes, this is the other bit that'll make you all happy. I've got an anti-tank rifle because that was my punishment, and because it's a 1941 list, all the infantry has to be mechanized. So it's not just a blooming anti-tank rifle; it's one I've had to buy a Kettenkrad for. So I can move it around. So you've made me spend a whole 60 points.
He's getting mad over that
on completely useless stuff.
Ketting lad will win you some games, my friend.
Yeah. And then I've got the rest of my list is 4 Kuba wagons from an Aus Clarung Grupper, but because there's a lot of controversy over that, basically they are 4 independent vehicles with an independent dice, but they don't have recce, even though they should, but they don't. So for this, the agreement I have with Steve is that they don't have recce, and it says that on my list. So if you play me and I try and play them with recce, you can completely call on that. And then just to round out talking about my list, I've had about 6 practice games with it now, and it's done pretty well actually. I really struggled against entrenched infantry, and I really struggled playing envelopment against Dan because it was just trying to force down one edge and couldn't do it because the tanks couldn't pop the things. But actually, it's done all right. I've won more than I've lost. But nothing's been dominant because all of the advantages of having tanks that can't be hurt are put off by the fact that I've got a very limited selection of infantry. So if it comes to objective missions, which there are most of them at Cambridge, 2 of the 3, it's going to be hard. They're going to be hiding in reserve until I can bring them on, and so I'm quite limited, and I'm worried about playing a veteran infantry force. I really don't want to play on a dense terrain board against something like Japanese. That'd be the worst possible matchup for me. The best possible matchup would be lots of MMG spam Stuarts and things like that, because they can't do anything to me. Just sort of ride around trying to pop them with the light howitzers.
No, you just ram them.
Ram them.
That would be a lot more satisfying.
You've got 9 medium tanks. You've got 3 medium tanks. Like who? Yeah. No one takes stuff to deal with medium tanks. So
who's got the AT to drop 3 medium tanks?
Yeah, I mean I do, but that's not the point. Like most people, well, here's my little AT gun. I've got my little light sits in the corner. You're just gonna go brah and just go and fuck them up.
Yeah,
Sheffield,
it was
my suicide guy. Oh, he died. Oh.
I played Spurley last Tuesday, and I think it took me to turn 4 before I hit anything with a light howitzer. So hopefully my dice won't betray me like they did then, because literally there was one where I gave one a fire order, had a unit in front of it, and Spurley just looked at me and went, "You haven't hit me yet. I'm not going to go down." And it was 2 up, and I rolled a 1, and I very nearly just packed the game in. Then it was terrible.
It's fine. You just got to get all your shit. You just got to get your shit dice rolls out of the way before the tournament.
All I can say, guys, is everyone listen, if you play Sheffield and you're playing an objective mission, of which they all will be objectives, he has 2 squads of infantry. Just kill them, ignore the tanks, you'll win the game, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. My worry is not so much that I'll face an army that I can't beat because it's Cambridge and I'm not playing too. It's not a balanced list at all. My worry will be that I get ridiculously lucky with the howitzers. I really don't want to have a one-sided battle. I don't mind not winning. It's just that some armoured platoons can be really nasty, and I don't want to just be just roll 6s all day.
You
Yeah,
don't
you'll be
want to. I don't. But okay.
Again, the caveat is unless I'm playing you lot, in which case I'll bring my weighted dice. I'd like to place as well as I have in previous years.
So better than Pete.
No, I joke about that. To be honest, no, I'm quite happy with top third. I'd be disappointed if I go with what is possibly the tougher list of the 3 that I've taken and do worse with it. But genuinely, I'm there to have fun, so I'll let it go.
Oh. Speaking of people who just go and have fun, Dan, I'm sure that's not what you're doing.
Dan's theme is winning, right?
Yeah, Dan, that is your theme. So how have you actually managed to not be a cunt about this one?
Not this time, mate. My winning theme is strictly on the back burner. I'm going for the wooden spoon with this one, mate. So mine is a US Marines Guadalcanal Theatre Selector. Now, for anyone that's ever read any of the army books that isn't Soviets, you'll know that the theatre selectors are very restrictive and very shit. And this one is no different. But it does allow me 2 bazookas. Whee!
Oh, nice. Take 2 bazookas.
Yeah, because I've got no anti-tank otherwise. Because it's shit, a selector. It doesn't really allow you the good tanks. So
Maybe it's because they weren't present at the Guadalcanal, you know?
yeah, it's quite a limited selector. The only reason I've taken it is because of the limitations of the tournament to not have as many flamethrowers. I've taken this one just to get the 2 bazookas, because otherwise I have literally no anti-tank in the army. So just quick running down then. A second LT inexperienced, just because you need to take it. 2 8-man Marine squads with 2 bars. An 8-man Marine squad with 3 SMGs. That's in a Dodge truck. 8 engineers with a flamethrower in a truck. An inexperienced light mortar, because we rated them so highly on our top 10 underrated units episode a couple of episodes ago. A sniper team, flamethrower team, 2 bazookas, howitzer, the machine gun spam Stuart, and then a jeep and a Pintle MMG jeep, because I had like 40 points left over and I didn't know what to spend it on. So as you can see, it's quite shit.
I expect to bet you, Dan. The machine gun spams do it. No.
Yeah. Well, I'm not
Did you
taking
just
the
put that
bet.
in the list and then say it was shit?
No.
It's
What,
the same
that
way
unit
that
isn't
the
shit.
bolt
Why
action goes
don't you take the Hellcat and be a man?
Because the Hellcat is the heavy AT that can recce.
Yeah, and you whinged about not having enough AT. You should have took the Hellcat.
Do you know what? I don't even think you can take it in that selector. I think that's fine.
Well, you
But
should
the
have
reason
took a
I've taken
better
the reason I've taken the Stuart is because I don't want to be a dick and take the veteran howitzer Sherman, because it's one of the best units in the
There
game.
is somewhere in between. The choice isn't binary between a machine gun Stuart and a vet howitzer Sherman. It's
So
like it's not the red
the
pill and the
thing with
blue
this-
pill. Come on, Neo.
No. The thing with this list is it's very low on infantry numbers. I think there's only about 40 infantry. Everything is inexperienced or regular, and most of it is not mechanized like Sheffield's one, so you can actually hurt it all the time. It's only got a couple of anti-tank guns, so it's quite susceptible to getting caught out. So I think I might just go for the wooden spoon and just do crazy shit, like get my light mortars to try and charge across the table and get the artillery in combat, try and get the Marines to charge tanks for no apparent reason, and just do weird shit all day and try and have some fun.
I am going to enjoy
that
the next
still win.
podcast so much when you've got a first or second place, and we can just play back clips of you going, "Oh yeah, it's not very good. I've only taken the MMG Stuart. It's not the best," because it's just going to be so ironic.
I have faith in you, Dan, that you will have fun.
This is quite a
Destroying the
toned
dreams
down
of your
list.
enemies.
This is a very toned down list, especially for me, because I could make this, if it was like a double selector, I could make a filthy Marine list with about 20 dice and about 8 flamethrowers.
You're
This-
aware you're not
this-
playing,
this is
you're not
really
playing Space
passive.
Marine, right?
next year you can write me a list, and I'll write you a list, and let's see how we go.
I'll do it. Yeah, let's do it.
Still beat you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not, it's because Dan can't turn it down from 10. It doesn't matter what the list is. It'll still.
A good player will use a bad list and win games, but a bad player can't use a good one and win it. So you'll always have that over me, Chef.
Yeah, I am mediocre and don't claim anything else.
Yeah, as long as you know your place.
Wow.
Well,
Mediocre.
I've managed to tone my list down from what I'd normally do. I mean, I'm probably still going to cry some.
Soviets away.
I have indeed put my Soviets away, and I've brought out a last levy list. So, this is a list from 1945, the Battle of Seelow Heights, or is it Berlin? One or two. It's last levy, so it's the last remnants of the German army. So, what I have is I've got a regular second lieutenant German, 2 replacement army squads, which are just shit inexperienced dudes, and then 3 Panzer Destroyer troop and squads. So we've harped on about these in a couple of episodes past. They are 7-man veteran squads, which are fucking armed to the teeth. So each dude has got a SMG, anti-tank grenades, and 2 out of each of the 7-man squad have a Panzerschreck. And those squads are 170 points each and are so much fun.
They are pricey.
In terms of efficiency, you should probably just take Panzerfaust. But in terms of fun, oh my god, Panzerschrecks are so much fun.
Are those 3 squads regs or vets?
No, they are vets, because once you've started spending 150 points on a squad, you need to make sure it stays around.
That is true.
And then I've just got some stuff to pad out the rest of my list. So I've got a sniper, I've got a flamethrower in a little Kettenkrad crowd. I've got a machine gun bike. I've got a Nebelwerfer, because it is Topher, let's be fair. And then finally,
but you've not taken 2 though, so you've toned it down.
It's just the one, and it's an inexperienced one, so you can just shoot it and make him run away. It's
some
fine.
people won't like you for that.
I know. I know.
Your list is the worst of all of ours.
It is.
It is, but it's not. It's not Topher level scumbaggery. Like,
it could be a whole lot worse.
Yeah, I've played around and made this a whole lot worse, and I've distinctly toned it down since my original drafts.
Yeah, you've managed to tone it down to 9.5.
The original list was 2 platoons, 4 Panzer Destroyer squads, and then 2 snipers, 2 flamethrowers, 2 Nebelwerfers. So it's definitely downhill from there. Give me a break. And then finally, I've got a Lorraine Schlepper.
Oh, you're schlepping.
Your favourite.
It is so much fun. It's a 7+ armoured, open-topped vehicle with a medium howitzer. 115 points, so cheap and cheerful. And it's so dinky. It can claim hard cover off a small wall. Brilliant.
Can it claim cover off of your little R75 bike, which is the smallest model ever?
No, but it can claim it off a Kettenkrad if the Kettenkrad is like horizontal to the front of it.
Toph, welcome to my life. Japanese tanks are all quite low, and we can claim cover off of walls.
I mean, I've been playing a lot, like those. Obviously, I've played a lot of practice games with this, and it all comes down to those Panzer Destroyer Trooper squads. That is my entire list. So if they, for whatever reason, fuck up, I lose.
Them.
Yeah.
This is the difficulty with your list is going to be that those Panzer Destroyer and Trooper are designed to do 2 things with their SMGs and their Panzer Schrecks. They're trying to be really good anti-infantry and really good anti-tank. But because you haven't just got them, it means that against a list of veteran infantry, against a list that's coming at you, they've got too many points sunk that's not going to be useful if they've got no vehicles. So that sort of list will prove hard. Whereas if they're tanks, then you'll be set. It's sort of you're going to do the best against an average, balanced army, a mix of vehicles and infantry.
I disagree. Against a full infantry horde, he's going to just laugh. He's got, 21 veteran tough fighters that you can just run across the board and gank them with SMGs and then combat.
Games is that they can't be everywhere at once.
No.
So, yeah, they're really good, but as I say, they can't be everywhere at once. And once they start losing, once you've dropped 2 men, they're no longer 7 men, they're 5 men, suddenly they're not quite as good anymore. Also, when they've got, they're my anti-infantry and my anti-tank, they're my anti-everything in a single unit. So if you just throw multiple threats at them, they're like, when I was practicing against Luke the other day, he had frickin' everything. He had veteran dudes, he had machine gun, tanks, everything. And I'm just like, I can't do everything. So I just stood there, went down and got pinned. That's basically what happened. But yeah, it's loads of fun though. I've had so much fun playing with them.
taken the German list, wandered into Switzerland, gone, I'll have your Swiss Army knives, and pissed off.
Basically. But it's so fun watching people try and put their tanks down. And I'm like, by the way, you see this squad with 2 Shreks, which is going to advance 6 inches and fling 2 rockets into the side of you. Yeah! Also, was it your officer I nailed with a Panzer Shrek, Sheffield?
Oh.
Yeah, it was.
Just walked up to him with a Panzer Shrek. So I could fire the SMG, or I could just nail him with a Panzer Shrek and give him a +6 hit and just turn him to mush. And
There's no kill like overkill.
that was the
So
most
it's-
effective
it's-
option.
It's just worth saying that I was insistent that this year I wanted to bring a Western Desert Force, and I spent a couple of weeks playing around with mechanized infantry. And the trouble is that because you don't have any of the toys, any of the useful equipment from late war Germany, basically all your infantry is garbage, and so it just doesn't work. I think I lost 5 consecutive games trying to do mechanized infantry without vehicles from Western Desert. You just can't really do it easily. So Topher taught me the errors of my ways, and didn't miss with that sodding schlepper once.
It's so brilliant.
See, mine in Toast practice games, he's never hit with that schlepper. It's great.
But you've shat bricks.
Well, I thought about shouting bricks.
When I fire it, I'm like, do you want to go down? And you're just like, oh shit, do I wanna?
Do I wish to stay up and be honourable? Or do I, go down and try and stay alive?
But yeah, that's what I'm doing anyway. I think it's definitely out of the box list. I think people won't quite know how to deal with it because, oh my god, there's 6 Panzer Shreks. That'll be the killer.
There won't be another list like yours at Cambridge. So I know that there are other people who are taking a very similar list to mine, but I've not seen anyone who's taking anything remotely like yours.
It's probably because it's not going to be allowed, and I'm going to be told the night before that I've got to change my list. That'll be what happens, and I'll be like, fuck!
No, what he'll do is he'll make sure you never play a tank platoon so that your Shreks are wasted points.
You know what? That's fair enough. I'll take that. But that one Jeep they have, or that one truck, I'm going to...
No, mate,
One
save
truck,
it for the
go
medic.
down.
That's true.
Or you
Anyway.
can save it for force.
Yeah, Pete, what have you got?
So I have a problem, right? I quite like the Japanese army, so we're taking Imperial Japanese Army Force. I was going to take the Special Naval Landing Force, but I asked Steve at Selector, and he went, "Oh yeah, no," which is fair.
Probably for the best.
Yeah, it's fair. And then I had a good look at me Japanese selectors and went, "Yep, they're all too good," and went with the generic selector. So the list is as follows. I've got a regular second lieutenant, because I can't take him experienced. Now here's probably the meat of the list. 2 squads of 15 veteran infantry.
Oh.
A squad
That's bad enough. That's bad enough in any army, but in Japanese fanatic bullshit, that is horrible. That's more infantry than my list.
I hope demolition is not on the missions.
a unit
Fuck
of
me.
a unit of 6 grenadiers with 2 light mortars. They're only regular. 5 regular engineers with a SMG and a flamethrower. They get a light truck to ride along in. A sniper team at regular, medium mortar that's regular, 2 veteran suicide anti-tank. That's hilarious. A regular standard Type 97 Chi-Ha that normally doesn't get a lot of use from, but I thought, sod it. And then something very different that I haven't really tried that much until practice games, which is a Kuragani that sits in the armoured car slot, because it replaces all of its transport capacity with a pintle-mounted medium machine gun.
And isn't open-topped.
No,
It's just
and-
broken.
And then I had 5 points spare, so that Kuragani is a veteran. Why not?
You do
Why
know
not?
it doesn't matter that it's not open top, right? Because it's a soft skin. We had this
It's the-
discussion at club.
It's the principle of it. Why is that the only soft skin Jeep type vehicle that doesn't have it in the game?
I didn't think
There's
any of
one-
the soft skins had the open top rule because it doesn't matter because they're
No.
soft skin.
No, they have
Alpha
open
Group
tops.
Do have open topped.
That's
You have to have
interesting.
open tops on things like trucks and stuff because the pastures inside can get pins.
Yeah, but it's the soft skins. They get
You
pinned
get
from
pins
rifles
anyway.
anyway.
It's a transport.
Mm.
Whatever the vehicle takes, it goes inside. Come on, Dan, know
The
your
only
rules.
difference it makes is that when you hit it with a mortar and you're firing indirectly and it goes through the top, you get the +1 to damage chart. That is literally the only difference.
Hey, with my rolls on damage charts, I'm taking that. I think it's garbage.
So yeah, my list it's only 12 dice, which is a weird one for me. There's 2 blobby infantry squads that I found basically guaranteed objective, but it's very slow.
How many points are they?
What, the 15-man squads?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 15 veterans with an SMG, 198.
Jesus.
They're about as expensive as my Panzer Destroyer Trooper.
Yep.
My money's
Yeah.
on the Fanatics.
Over double the models in the unit.
You say
Yeah.
that right, but me and Toph had a fight of like I think he'd only killed 2 of them. It was 13 vets versus his 7 veteran fighters, and both squads got absolutely annihilated. I was left with 1 guy going, well, that's great.
I did manage to get like a round of volley with my SMGs off first though, but yeah, we tore each other to pieces.
It was so much fun.
I'm terrified of those 15-man vet units. Like, other than getting lucky and just throwing Panzer Destroyers at you and maybe getting lucky with a flamethrower, I have no idea how to deal with them because they just go down in somewhere I don't want them to be.
Schlepper his face.
Alright, he went down and I hit 3 of them. Cool. I gave him some pins. He doesn't give a fuck. There's like 13 left.
Yeah.
You just
When we
leave it on
talk about-
ambush.
No, when they delete units, when you're trying to delete a unit with a heavy or medium howitzer, you're talking 8-man units, not 15-man. You can't delete a 15-man unit. Doesn't matter how
No.
big your gun is.
The thing is, right, those 2 units are going to be, I think, are going to be fantastic today, but the other 2 infantry units are 6-man and 5-man and are just going to get spat at and die.
So what's that? That's your mortar squad and your engineer flamethrower squad.
Yeah, they're just going to get spat at and die. The engineers are going to die every game.
Should we do a who we wouldn't want to and who we would want to play out of each other, assuming we drew each other?
I would want to play you, Sheffield, because that's a free win.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
because
wouldn't
I wouldn't want to play you.
I wouldn't want to play Pete.
It depends on the mission, really, because if the mission's objectives, I'll play all 3 of you, sod it.
Yeah.
I want to play Pete because in our practice game he had to like concede turn 3, but
That was double envelopment. I can't envelop.
yeah, I don't think that would happen again. I don't want to play
Oh,
Dan
it's-
just because he's a cunt and he's a sly, jammy git.
Sneaky.
Yeah, at kill points, a kill points mission, I'd want to play Pete. Again, objectives, I'd want to play Dan. But it's not because I'd want to play Dan. It's because the worst possible thing would be that I played Topher.
Hello.
Well, you don't want to play
Fair.
Pete because his fanatics don't give a shit about your panzers.
Actually,
You don't want to play
no.
Toph because he's got Shreks. You want to play me because I've got
At kill
not a lot
points,
that can
though,
deal with you.
at kill points though, I can ignore the 15-man squads because they're fat and slow, and just
Yeah.
pick off the other units with light howitzers with things that he can't hurt. So, if I can deal with his lunge mines, I think there are only 2, aren't there, Pete? If you can deal with
Yeah,
those,
only 2.
then his army's gutless against mine. So he'll only be good if
charge
he's.
your tanks with 15-man units. They will all die. The tanks and the 15.
I'd want to sit there and watch that. If I see Chef and Pete playing, I'm going to concede my own game, let the dude win, and walk over and watch yours.
At which point, Chef, we should just call it a draw, just to piss Toph off.
No, no. Do we know of any other guys in the community what they're taking? Is there any talk, any scary stuff that's coming through, or any fun stuff?
No, I mean, there's going to be a lot of Western Desert.
As is tradition.
It's the
I
new
think-
hotness.
I think
Every
people.
British list, I think, is going to have 2 bloody units. 3.
I think you'll see a lot of Western Desert, but I don't think I'd be too worried about it. I can't see what it is about the Western Desert lists that you can't do with other German lists. That there's no massive advantage to it. I just don't get it. And same with the British. I think you'll see a lot because it's themey, and there's been a lot of new 8th Army and Africa Corps models. So I think you'll see a lot of people bringing in very themey armies from Western Desert. I'd be very surprised if a Western Desert army won it.
The thing with playing Brits though is why wouldn't you go Indian or South African?
Oh, that's true. Yes, if you're playing,
Yeah, it's
better
really
from the
silly
Allied
when you're getting
side.
200 points for free. Like, yeah, you're right with the Germans. It doesn't bring you that much to the table that you can't do otherwise. So that's not too bad. But I'm imagining you'll see a lot of Indian armor platoons simply just because it's the obvious choice.
I'm looking out for, playing my 1,000 points against somebody else's 1,200. Why not?
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, those the nastier versions of those will get swiped aside.
Well,
but we'll see.
It's quite annoying because one of Gaz's friends, as we were having a conversation in the Facebook group, because he's taking a very, very similar army to mine. He's got a little bit more infantry, but he's taken Panzer IIIs instead of Panzer IVs, and his Panzer IIIs are the anti-tank variants. So he's basically got 3 of the 8+ tanks with light AT guns, whereas I've got the heavier versions of those. And I really wanted to take infantry so that I wasn't doing a nearly identical list, but I think they look pretty similar. But I would be surprised if either of us placed near the top with them, because they're just not... You don't get any advantage for it. All of the advantage in the German stuff is the late war access to Panzerfausts and assault weapons and lots of fun toys with multi-launchers and things like that. Basically, early war Germany is a tax you pay rather than actually an effective army.
I think we've got some interesting lists coming out from the other members of our club. So I know Ian's taking an all-veteran French list, which includes a veteran FT-17 and a veteran anti-tank rifle.
It's got a cavalry unit as well, hasn't it?
It's literally entirely veteran. Even on the only units that are not veteran is the regular free howitzer he gets. Simply because he was like, I don't know what to take, so I just took this and made it all vet. It's like, well, that's not a logical conclusion. How'd you come to that?
Yeah, but Ian will still do all right.
Yeah, I know Juggernaut Grimes. He's taking an 18 dice inexperienced Soviet list, but it's not like one of my inexperienced Soviet lists. It's a proper inexperienced Soviet list. He's got over 60 dudes, but they're all inexperienced 12-man squads. He's just gonna frickin' lunge himself at people.
I would love that.
He's literally just going to be like, motherland, and just go charging after people. Not like me, who brings all the good stuff and just cheeses it. No, he's doing it properly.
Luke's got the one of everything list, one British generic platoon where he's got one of every slot of everything, and so it's that horrible list that's got. It just looks really weird. It works really well as an army, but it's got like paras and home guard in it. It's sort of a really horrible. It's a mongrel list, but at least we can forgive him because he's not taken British Indians.
Yes, this is true. I mean, we've also got
banned from club.
Yeah. We've also got Juggernaut Brad taking the tank platoon.
Yeah, that could be interesting. He's got the Stommel list, hasn't he?
Yeah.
You'd think his list would be good against mine, but he annihilated me in practice games. Absolutely smashed me to pieces.
Well, I've actually when he first started playing with that Stommel list, he was scared of the old lunge mines, and I went, "Why? You're a transport. If I charge you, you get out and fight me, and I lose."
Light bulb moment.
It's just they're immune to me. Why?
Brad's list is the sort of list that's going to be really effective against someone who's never seen that before. That it's a lot of transports, but the transports are also potent assets because they've all got
all stummels, aren't they? So they're all
they've all got howitzers.
They're all half tracks with light howitzers on top.
Well, they're actually they're in the tank slot. It's just they have a transport capacity.
Yeah, they're the best of both worlds, aren't they?
They're good. They're not amazing, but they're good. I mean, if you compare them, they've got a light howitzer on a tracked vehicle. So they're 7-up as opposed to 9-up, but they're comparable to my Panzer F1s, aren't they? They've got the same armament minus the MMG, but they're half the points. So,
and
they have flamethrower squads in them, or SMG squads.
If we saw Brad come up against Sheffy here, my money is actually on Sheffy because those Stommels don't last long.
Yes, actually, Brad. It depends what the table's like. On open terrain, sparse terrain, I could take Brad. Actually, if we're playing one where he can hide those half tracks before he can deploy his units, and sort of engage me around the side, actually, my money would be on him. It depends on the board. I think that one.
Historically, Cambridge has quite varied boards. You have a lot of like city fight ones, and then you also have quite a couple of like open desert ones. You never really know what you're going to get, which I like in one regard and absolutely hate on another regard, but it's overall a positive.
Smurf's taking Americans, isn't he? He's got 2 engineer flamethrower squads. I wouldn't want to play him.
I don't know what he's gone with in the end, actually. I know he had a bit of a tussle about working out what he wanted to do, because the exact same list he took last year got told no this year. So he was like, oh, well, what's changed then? And then he's had to go right back to the drawing. So I don't even know if he's decided what he's taking yet.
But his list last year, though, did have about 4 flamethrowers in it.
Oh, yeah, he was a cheesy cunt.
Stuart Satan's.
Well, yeah, the The nice thing about Smurf's list is it looks beautiful, and every time you kill a guy, he's got a model that's a dead guy to replace that with.
Also,
Dedication.
he has painted sexy ladies on the side of all of his tanks.
Yeah.
Which they're really beautiful. If you
Yeah.
see anyone with a Juggernaut shirt on with Smurf on the back, go and look at his army. He puts us all to shame.
I think we'd agree, wouldn't we? Smurf's got the best army of all of us for looks. It's the best painted army.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
God yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, 1 week away, guys. 1 week.
Who else are we taking? Oh, Spurley. Let's give Spurley a shout out.
So
Yeah.
it's his first bolt action tournament.
Yeah, he's been playing as part of the game for like probably around 6 months, and his brother-in-law, who's been playing games with us for about 5 years, he's played more games in that 6 months than his brother-in-law has. There you go, Kalo. You can get a shout out. Yeah, flake.
Sort your life out. But yeah,
Paint
so
your stuff.
Spurley won an army. Which tournament did we go to? Because I went to a tournament and won him. Oh, it was last Cambridge, weren't it?
Was it last Cambridge?
No, it was the Imps doubles.
Was it Imps double? Anyway, there was a tournament I went because Spurley was getting into bolt action. I was like, right, you need to. Your first hit is free, like any good heroine addict. Your first hit's free. So I went to a tournament. I think it might have been Imps doubles, and I won him a starter army.
Yeah.
No, it was Cambridge because I got the Warlord Games voucher.
No, it was the doubles because I won the German starter army from the Fallschirmjäger.
No,
No,
that
it
was
was
way
Cambridge.
after.
It was
Cambridge because I got the Warlord Games voucher.
He didn't come first, but he placed quite high enough to get the voucher.
Yeah, so I used the voucher to buy him a £50 paratrooper starter box and just went, there you go, bud, get started. And he has indeed gotten started. He's built it, he's painted it, he's took a 1,000-point paratrooper list. It's pretty standard. It's just a few paratrooper squads, some teams, and a Sherman. But it's good, and he's had a lot of practice with it. He's been using it for a good 6 months straight, so I'm really hope he does all right.
I think what Spurley will find is that having played most of his games in that 6 months against us, that when he plays somebody who doesn't play as much as us, he'll find that actually it's much easier, and he'll sort of suddenly get a new confidence with it. So he'll do pretty well, I think.
It's been a bit of a baptism of fire for him, hasn't it? Learning as part of the Juggernauts group, because when he first started out, a lot of the games he would have played would have been for our GT practice.
Oh god, yeah, it would have been, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so it would have been really thrown in at the deep end. Sorry, Spurley, but you're going to be our whipping boy for a few months.
But then he it was all, yeah, he knew exactly what was coming. Yep, do it. And even when we weren't practicing for a tournament, we'll say, "Oh, what game we're going to play this week? Oh, should we play some Sigmar? Should we play some Blood Bolt?" And he's like, "Nope, I need to play bolt action. I need to learn the rules. I need to get good." And that's dedication.
Yeah.
So
and one thing we'd always like try and convey to our listeners as well is when you're playing against players that, if they are better than you or they've been playing a lot longer than you, know the game a bit better. After every single game, he would ask where you think he's gone wrong and how he could improve, and that's something that we always try and encourage people to do, just to get yourself going and try and learn the rules a bit better.
I'm gonna change what I said at the beginning about how I want to do. I want to do better than Spurley. I'll be really annoyed if Spurley beats me.
I think
you know what, lads? If Sheffield and Spurley are around the same area and one of us pulls them, just fucking let him have it.
Throw it. Yeah.
One thing I will say,
horrible people.
He embodies get petty like no one else I know.
Oh, it's brilliant! It's brilliant.
So just to give a bit of feedback, get petty is so a lot of times you're playing a game and sometimes you lose a game. Sometimes it's not going in your favour and you're about to lose. There's two ways you can do this. You can either throw your hands up and go, well, fuck this, fuck that, and storm off and have a whinge about it, or you can get petty and you can go, all right then, what's your favourite model? I'm going to kill that guy. Like, so me and Pete were at a tournament for a different game system the other weekend. It was a doubles one, and on around turn 3, we done really well today and was on the top table right at the end. But it was clear from about turn 3 onwards, we'd made a couple of mistakes.
It was going wrong.
We weren't going
to win.
You're saying
Toph made the mistakes.
I made some mistakes.
No, I made a couple.
But, and it was basically because we'd failed to kill one model who was sat on an objective. Now, what we could have done is, gone, oh, fuck it, concede, No. What we did is we threw our entire fucking army at that cunt.
and it was his favourite model, so fuck you!
Left him blinded and made jokes and laughed at ourselves, and we got so petty. It was so great. So,
did you finally kill it in the end?
No.
We fucking got it.
No.
Ah, you suck.
But it doesn't matter because we had a laugh trying to the point where, you know, playing Age of Sigmar, I'm throwing skinks at it, the worst unit in the game. Let's kill it with skinks! You know? And in bolt action terms, well, you know, that Nebelworth has fucked me up all game, so I'm going to charge this unit 24 inches across open ground and go kill it. You know?
Or there's the, well, I'm losing, I've got like 10 models left, but I hear that you really like the paint job on your officer, so he's got to die.
That's how my officer died to the Panzerschrecks.
Yeah, I got. Yeah, but I was winning and I still got pay. But that is our code word. Get petty. So if you come over and say hello and tell me to get petty, I will give you a widget. I've got not a widget. So
if you don't know the code word, but you're playing Spurley and you help him to finish above Sheffield, you get a widget as well.
Yeah, free widget to everyone who loses to Spurley.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is so. I shouldn't be upset about this, but I genuinely am.
it is quite bad.
There's no anti-Sheffield agenda, don't worry.
Oh, there is, but it's fairly open. It's not really an agenda as much as just, you know, a position to take.
We're getting petty because Pete lost to you for the last two Cambridges, so we're getting petty.
I didn't actually play him.
I know, but he likes to brag about it, even though you didn't play him.
Yeah,
It's disingenuous, as we all know.
I do like to say that the last Cambridge, I technically played 4 people. Myself in the morning, submitting the wrong fucking list. And then 3 games against some really nice guys.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to catching up with some of the community as well.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. Talk some shit.
Yeah.
Any closing points?
I just hope I don't play Stuart Spam 3 times again like I did last year.
Well, he's been harder on the list this year, so as long as he's been fair, you won't.
As long as he's been consistent.
Yeah.
But I imagine you might come up against it in an objective a little bit.
Usually he tries to keep the tank platoons to play the tank platoons, but I think last year after the first game he just went, right, it's a free-for-all now, winner stays on.
It's only for the first round, yeah.
Yeah, it's the first round tank platoon versus tank platoon. It's whoever cares for the rest.
Oh. Right, cool. On to the next segment.
Yep.
Let's go.
And our next segment, we're going to tease you a little bit, and it's called Just the Tip. Yeah.
You tease, Pete.
Just the tip.
When you're not quite sure if it's in yet.
I have that problem all the time. Did you know that when I was at school, I had the nickname Slippy, and I will say no.
What?
I will say no more.
Slippy Buckle.
Yeah, they used to call me Slippy. They'd go, "Oi, Slippy."
You get pegged one too many times.
I will say no more. It's got.
I haven't heard this story. You need to tell us.
You know when we go out tomorrow night, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
Right.
I'm not putting it on the podcast. You'll have to come talk to me in person at a tournament, and I'll tell you.
I don't know.
But
It sounds like we've got a forfeit for failing a Hobby Lobby right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, just the tip. This is a new segment. So what we're doing? What we're talking about?
We're going to do some general tips and tactics.
Tips and tactics. We've actually had a fair bit of feedback. People asking for tips and tactics. So that's so what we're going to do is just each month we'll just pick a random thing and just talk shit about it for 20 minutes. So what we're doing for the first one?
We're going down on people.
I'm going down. I'm yelling timber.
But we're just putting the tip in as we go.
Down, deeper and down.
The down order. I think it's quite funny actually because in first edition the down order was a little bit shit. You never used it. You never did it. It was a little bit redundant. And then they upped the power. So in the the next edition, so it's now -2 to hit you rather than -1. And since it's very divisive, isn't it? Some people really like the rule, and some people absolutely hate it and think it ruined bolt action for them, which is quite huge. What's your guys' opinion on down order?
Well, I find the people that dislike it, at least from my experience, I can't speak for everybody, the people dislike it, the ones that are just they're like, I'm going to shoot you off the board. And you go, well, I'm going to go down. And they're like, but you won't let me shoot them. Why? Because I need an army, dude. I need an army to fight the battle.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Going down means your stuff stays alive, but it also means it does fuck all. So you can't have it both ways, can you?
think for me the difference is cover. Sort of if stuff's behind a wall, if it's an infantry squad behind a wall and they go down, and suddenly you're at -2, and almost invariably 7s because it's hard cover as well. Sort of you go, oh well, fair enough. They've all hit the deck behind a brick wall. Yeah, I'm not going to hit them, am I? Unless I'm lucky. But it's when it's the -2 is particularly annoying when it's like small teams out in the open. It's that it's when that flamer squad that's got out the jeep. Runs right up to your tank but can't do anything in that turn, and then you activate and they go down, and suddenly it's 5s because they're small team on the deck, and it's just like, you're in front of me. There's no cover here. Why is it so hard to hit you?
I kind of like it.
For everybody, if Sheffield ever offers you 5s because you're on the deck and a small team, shoot a small team because it should be 6s.
I like it. It's kind of realistic because you're trying to pick out
point
blank.
Yeah.
Come on, right. Pete, learn the rules.
You didn't mention anything about point blank.
It's assumed.
You're all firing blanks. Let's keep going. So I think it's quite realistic, and I know that's not necessarily the prevailing opinion. But in that, going to that example, you're trying to pick out 1 or 2 dudes in an entire battlefield. If you imagine the smoke going, the noise, everything, the cannons firing, and you're trying to pick out two individual men who are trying to sneak towards you with their head on the floor, I think it makes a lot of sense that you can't really hit them.
Yeah.
It works for me, and I really like it in that it stops gun lines, because if someone just wants to sit there and shoot you forever, you can just go down and he has to come and actually dig you out. It makes the game more mobile, which I like.
Yeah, I like that game's mobile. Because if it was
I am moaning that it's disproportionately effective for certain units, but I do like that for exactly the reasons that Toast just said. I like the new down. I think it's better because it's made it possibly the second best order after advance, which will probably be the one you're doing most of the time, moving and shooting. And so suddenly down is the next best one. I like it. It's good.
So when should you use down? So if you choose to voluntarily go down, you can use it as a reaction when someone's shooting at you. You get a -2 to hit. For when I'm shooting you, it's a -2 modifier, and also you halve any HE hits. So once you place your template, if it covered 4 dudes and you were down, it would only hit 2. So it basically makes you a lot harder to hit. What sort of things would you go down for? When would you ever decide that going down is actually a good choice?
When you need to keep your squad alive and you've gone, well, I don't need to do anything with them this turn, so they may as well go down.
Yeah. On an objective.
A lot of
stuff
times
if you can fire.
If you're there going, well, I don't need to move. I'm on the objective. I'm going to get shot at by a heavy howitzer. I'll go down.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. If you're at risk of getting hit on an easy number as well, I think that's another opportunity to go down just to make it more difficult.
The question I always ask myself is, does the thing I need them to do this turn matter more than them being alive for the next turn?
Yeah.
And depending on the answer to that question is whether I go down or not. So if I need to get on the objective next turn, so that then on the next turn I've then got it and he has to come get it off me, I'll stay up because I know I need to move. If I'm already on the objective, I just need to keep them alive. It doesn't matter what else they're doing, so they're going to go down. And I think, especially from someone who, with lists like mine where stuff can die quite easily, people do not go down enough. Because it can save your life. And, going down, especially if it's a big nasty hit, if someone's hitting on 5s and you go down with a heavy howitzer, something they're hitting on 7s, it is a monumental shift in the odds to be hit by going down. So I think people should go down more. You should go down on people. Go down on your horse, go down on your officer. Yeah,
we should just say that there are a few things that it doesn't work against. Flamethrowers and snipers being the down won't help you, so don't go down as a reaction to those.
No. That reminds me actually. So another thing you can do is if you put yourself in ambush, a little known rule is that you can still go down even while you're in ambush. Check it in the ambush rule, guys. It is there. So
it's page 59 of the rulebook.
If you want to fire but you're not quite sure, put yourself in ambush, and then if they end up firing something big at you, you can go, actually, I'll go down. You can delay your choice if that makes sense. That's a good one to do.
Well, speaking as a Finnish player who's
Filth.
whose bulk of his army can move and then go into ambush, and then whenever it gets shot, its first reaction is, like Toph says, do I need it to be alive? Is it going to get hit easily? My whole army can basically move ambush, go down, and it's protected for a turn. Move, ambush, go down, protected for a turn. And you can basically cross half the board without ever being hit. It's so powerful.
And if you're just standing, if you're behind hard cover, that's -2. That's 5 to hit from another guy standing still. If you go down, that makes it 7s. So straight away, you're monumentally dropping the amount of chance of even being hit, let alone killed. So if you're on an objective, if you're in a building, if you're behind a wall and you go down, they've got to come and dig you out now. They cannot just sit there and keep shooting at you, because with a 1 in 36 chance to hit for every single rifle shot, they're never going to shift you. They need to come and dig you out, which I like. I think that's quite realistic. It helps the fire maneuver theme of bolt action. I really enjoy that. And that's where I see a lot of people fall down. So let's turn it around. So how do you dig the other person out? Because I see a lot of times in my game, I'm saying to myself, well, I'm here, I'm down, come get me. And that's when the opponent falls apart. That's when they go, actually, how do I get rid of you? How do I counteract this?
Sheffield's mentioned tactic number 1 is flamethrowers. That is the easiest way to get them out of down, because you don't care about them being down. They're not going to react to you in any way to hurt you back. Just set them on fire.
That is why flamethrowers are so prevalent.
You bam them with a vehicle. You assault them with a vehicle. That's another good way to get them out.
So, another good way is to set a mortar on them, because there's very few units where you can just sit there putting pins on them until they pin out.
A medium mortar will ruin their day, because it's either, if you get lucky and get a 6 or a 5 in the first couple of turns, as soon as you get hit, it's just, have D3 more pins, have D3 more pins, have D3 more pins, and it'll soon make them decide to actually move and not go down. And that's the turn that you pounce on them and just shoot them with every rifle you have.
Or they may even go to rally, and if they do that, they're not down, which means they get battered by the mortar again. It's very effective.
Yeah.
That said, there's a couple. You've got to be careful of fanatics, because they just don't move. But most armies don't have them that prevalent.
Demolish the building they're in.
If they're in a building.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's very good to go down in buildings.
Well, yeah.
Because if you're going to get your balls out, you want it to be a bit warm. You don't want them to shrivel up in the cold open air.
Heavy howitzer, that stupid unit in there. Go indirect if you have to, and just demolish that thing.
You can use the down order to your advantage as well. So if you have a scary unit that you don't want to fight, all you need to do is threaten it. And if your opponent's keen and he's got his eye on the ball, he might just go down. In which case, that delays the turn where you have to deal with it. So, for instance, if, say, Pete's using his big 16-man scary veteran army, veteran squad, 50, whatever it is, and I don't want to fight it, I might point my howitzer at it. Now, I might only hit it on 5s or 6s. It's probably not a lot of a reliable shot. I'm not doing it to try and hit him. I'm doing it to tempt him into going down, because he doesn't want to get hit by that big howitzer. Now, once he's gone down, that means you're free for the rest of the turn. You don't have to worry about that squad. You can then go, right, now that's in the open, now that he's gone down, I'm going to run. So you can use that to your effect as well. It's a good psychological weapon, because, no one wants to get hit by a big, nasty gun.
Speaking of the recipient of that, it is a very hard decision. Do I go down, or do I keep the threat there? And if I keep the threat there, that 5 up to hit could utterly ruin me as well. So it's very hard.
We've all made that choice where you've gone, nope, I'm going to stay up, I need it, and then he just hits, and you just go, you know what? Shit, I should have gone down.
Bollocks to it.
And we've also had it when you've gone down and he's rolled a 1, and you think, well, what's the freaking point in that?
That is, every time my unit goes down, it rolls a 1 to hit. Every time it stays up, it rolls a 7. It's just sod's law, isn't it?
Yeah.
But if you've got units in buildings as well, going down on a unit in a building halves the hits as it would do against HE and things like heavy howitzers, but it is also still a -2 to hit you guys whilst you're in a building, even though the HE ignores the hard cover rule. So he could have a building in the open that's you're usually hitting on 3s. If you go down, it's now 5 still.
And I think if you're trying to get onto an objective, say if there's a couple of objectives in the middle, your opponent's got hold of them, you're trying to advance onto it. If every time you fire at them, they keep going down and you keep hitting on 7s, stop fucking firing at them. Stop advancing, get some run orders in. Because the only way you're going to clear them out is by getting up in their face and either charging them or hitting them on point blank. So this happened
Getting
to me.
them point blank with your SMGs.
This
and your
happened to me
rifles.
at the
Suddenly...
GT, where I think it was playing Manhunt or not manhunt, I think it was top secret. The objective was in the middle, and I had it, and I had all my squads in there, and every time they were shot at, I was just going down. I don't care, I'm staying in on this objective. And my opponent just kept going, advance 6 fire, advance 6 fire, advance 6 fire, and just getting very frustrated when he was only hitting on 7s. But you know what? Charge. Because when you charge, down doesn't matter. You're going at the, if I'm in cover, you're going at the same time. In which case, you can clear me off. Charge me with infantry, move me off with tanks. If I'm in cover, charge a tank at me, make me move out the way of the cover, and then get the charge in. Hopefully, if you time it right, you can move me off the cover, so that then your charge is in open terrain and you can get a good, easy charge on.
And there is intelligent ways to do that. So you can still, say if you've got 2 smaller units trying to take on a bigger unit, it's going to happen to me, I know. You can have one running one turn, the next one advance and fire, and then the next turn have the one that ran go advance and fire, and the other one run. So you actually get both squads come up on them at the same time.
Hey, let's keep real world tactics out of bolt action.
Real world tactic would actually work.
I think when your opponent's down in a dug-in position, the onus is on you as the attacker to think outside the box and think, how am I going to get them out? And as I say, at that point, when you're hitting on 7s, you can't just shoot them. It's not going to work. You need to think outside the box. That's when the other tactics come in. Start firing mortars on them, make them move. Move your big tough fighter squad up and get ready to, move them out. So I really like down order. The -2, it adds a great dynamic to the game. It means stuff lasts longer. So it means you're not sitting there on turn 3 with your armies annihilated. If you're a canny player, you've still got half your army left at turn 5.
Yeah,
because you've kept it alive.
If the unit that keeps going down that you want to dig out is off on the side of the board and maybe only on one objective and there's 4 or 5 objectives, just keep them going down and ignore them. Because as long as they're down, they're not moving.
That's another question. How much do I really even need to kill that unit? Realistically, what threat is that unit? Like, one of Pete's 15-man squads, it's on the other side of the board guarding one objective. Cool, have it. I'm not going to get it off you. I ain't got anything to get it off you with. So I'm going to go focus on the units.
But you can have it.
Yeah. I think try having some practice games, guys. Try practice it. Just think, let's just try going down here where you normally wouldn't, and just see how your army fares. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at how well you can do with your army. This is how things like inexperienced units, they're quite hard to use because they're so squishy. Go down with that bad boy. If you've got inexperienced units, it means you've got the points to have more units, which means you go down with the one unit as he's fired at. The next unit, he hasn't shot at them. They can run about. They can do what they want.
Also, another good tactic for down. A lot of my armies, I don't have a lot of anti-tank. Going down is my anti-tank. As soon as things like the machine gun Stuarts, or if you've got things like gas trucks or something with a howitzer on it, like Toph's Lorraine Schlepper, as soon as that pops its head out and says, "Right, I'm going to shoot a unit," just go down with it. It makes it almost redundant for a turn. The rest of your army can then maneuver, safe in the knowledge that that tank isn't going to activate again, and that's your protection against it.
Prime example being last year's Cambridge. Second game I came up against a list with machine gun Stuarts and all sorts of stuff that I couldn't take on. I didn't have the anti-tank for it. So I got on the objectives and just went down most of the game. Won the game, had the objectives.
Yeah, it's exactly the same thing I did. In both of the games I played Stuarts, just walked up, went down, and then I just went down for 5 more turns.
Yeah.
I think historically, as a group in a podcast, we've never actually rated machine gun Stuarts or Tokarevs or Panzer Ones quite as high as the rest of the internet community, and that's because no matter how many machine gun shots you have, if you're down in cover, it's 7s to hit. In which case, you need 36 shots before you're even statistically getting 1 hit. It's not an effective weapon. So with just clever use of your down order, you can keep your army alive because you will always have more units than they have machine gun spam.
Yeah, and a lot of players out there, as soon as they get their first dice out of the bag in a turn, the first thing they usually do is go, "Oh, first dice, what's the biggest, baddest unit I can get? Machine gun Stuart, hey, let's throw it at the enemy." And it's like, well, you've just wasted it. You're moving it first, you're playing your hand. All you've got to do is his opponent just go, well, down on the unit you're shooting, and that's it. He's got nothing else to worry about for us that turn. Unless he's got 4 more Stuarts, in which case you go down 4 more times.
But then, as Pete said, if you're going down in the right place, you're dandy. It's about keeping your units alive for when you need them. Especially with me. So say with my Panzer Destroyers, my SMGs have got 7-inch. I've only got 12-inch range. Panzer Shreks are very specific in what they do. So quite often, there's not much I can do this turn, but I can keep them alive till next turn, and where the dynamic will change.
You'll get opponents that go, "Oh, didn't enjoy that. All you did was go down." And I'm there like, "Well, you've got." My response to that is always, "You've got an army that forces me to go down to actually compete with it. So whose fault is that, really?"
And if they whinge, just say it's themed. What the fuck would you do, mate, if you're getting shot by 20 machine guns? Oh wait, you'd hit the dirt. There you go.
Just getting shot by one. It's like, stop shooting me.
So yeah, so final points from me. Remember down as an option. Ask yourself, is it more important that this unit is alive or that they can do something this turn? That's your key question. And remember, if someone else is going down against you, use that to your own advantage.
Yeah.
Any other points?
Just be aware that in the rulebook as well, in the summary at the back, it says a down order is an extra -1 to hit, but in the hit modifiers, it's a -2, so there might be some confusion there. So just remember which one's which.
Yeah, my final point would be, remember that when you put your order dice in the bag at the end, you can leave a down unit with a down order for the start of the next turn, and you lose a pin.
No,
You do
he's really
D3.
Sorry, D3. You probably see that's how little I do it, and I should do it more because it's useful.
Well, if you're an objective and he's trying to pin you out, why not?
Yeah. Like one of the last episode, I think it was episode 4, we did the top 10 underrated units when we had shirkers. Shirkers are not going to do anything. If they're down and they may have a pin on them already, it's very highly unlikely they're going to do anything next turn. Leave it down, shed a few pins. It doesn't matter that they're down anyway because they're shit shirkers. They're like 20 points. They're not going to do anything anyway. That's their job. Just keep going down, shed the pins, stay on the objective. Done.
Yeah, and if they shoot at the unit that stayed down, then they're engaging a unit that's not going to engage in that turn. So kind of leaves them open for the rest of your army to exploit the opportunity there.
Yeah. And if your opponent's staying down, it just means he's less dice in the bag for next turn, so you could have the advantage in getting dice out when you need them.
And I will go down on anyone who buys me a Nintendo Switch.
Legit, he will.
Hey, have you seen the new Pokemon game released, Sword and Shield? I am fucking immensely excited.
Are you in your underpants again? Nobody needs that.
No, I'm podcasting. This was actually scheduled podcast.
Right, this is the end of the segment.
So we're now going to go into our FAQ, our What the Fact section of the podcast.
What the fact?
Indeed. And just every time, this is podcast number 5. Every single time we do one of these, we get even more feedback. And so I just want to say thank you very much for that. But we've got so many people asking us for advice, giving us some encouragement and stuff. It's really positive. So we've been looking forward to this section the most because we've got a lot to say.
Yeah, I think it's really kicked off this last month with the amount of emails and Facebook messages we're getting.
Oh, and
really
just
good.
those people that have messages on Facebook, you will notice that all 4 of us do tend to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, we all weighed in.
It's been known for us to start completely ignoring the listener and just start arguing amongst ourselves, and we don't actually know who we're arguing with because it doesn't. We need to come up with a code word so we know which one's which.
You see, it does display it on a computer. If you're on a desktop or a laptop, it says posted by, and you can see who it is if you're on that.
I'm
just do it on my
sitting
phone.
on the John at work with my phone out.
Well, Pete always
You're in a
signs
really
his
important
Pete.
meeting.
Yeah, Pete signs his.
Sheffy sometimes does it if he's not being too harsh to the person he messages.
I've been lovely.
You're a delight.
You're just one step short of a bastard.
Anyway, so so we start. So we've picked out some of the so we had loads of feedback. We've picked out some of the more what would you call it? The ones with a bit of meat to them, so we can actually have trigger a bit of discussion. So who wants to go first?
Yeah, so we had a message on our Facebook group by a lad called Chris. I won't read out the whole message, it's quite a long one. I'll just read out a few of the highlights of it. So he says he's listened to the podcast. I have done the rituals. I have divorced my family, but I feel it's not quite enough. I am playing my first bolt action tournament at a GT in New Jersey at the beginning of March. I played the US and I'm building a list, and I can never get it to ooze cheese get it to ooze the cheese like Topher's Katusha build. He then goes on to list what the the regulations are and the restrictions. And then right at the end, it just says, the best part is I have 2 3D printers. I can print any list I would like. Juggernauts, please grant me your cheesiest cheese so I may crush my enemies. Future Juggernaut East Coast branch leader, Chris.
Branches now.
And just so you know, we've got this while we're all together at club, and this genuinely had us in stitches.
This was great. It was, for me, the highlight was I have done the rituals and divorced my family. That is a man that gets it.
Was this the guy who's
pussies, obviously?
Was this the guy whose tournament had like more restrictions than like a swimming pool, where you go in and you go, let's have some fun, and then it's just a wall of don't do this. Was that the guy?
No, that was a different one. This one was like double platoon, and you can't take more than 2 of this, that, and the other. But it was, other than that, it was quite open. There was a different one where it was you can only take 3 veteran infantries. There must be no more than 5 men. You can take 1 light howitzer, but you can't take a spotter. And it just got mental.
Cool.
Yeah, so that was a very, very interesting message. We loved it.
Did we give any list advice?
We did. So I think I took the hit on this one because obviously Chris was asking for some US advice. Both he and I were going back and forth and asking what he got, what he would like to put in. One of the units I obviously recommended was a veteran Sherman howitzer. He loved the idea. I think we managed to, because what he did is he kind of sent a list in and said, how do I tone this up, which is what we like to do. And I think we took it from about a 15 or 16 okay, 15 16 dice okay list to a 19 dice power list. And in the end, he was drooling over some of the options we gave to him. So, Chris, if you're listening, mate, I think you said it was early March that this tournament's happening. Please let us know how you got on, how the list worked, and post it to the Facebook group so you can share it with everyone.
Yay. So we got an email from Simon, and he was asking for desert rat list ideas. So in Ozzo's late father, I think, did he say his late father actually fought in the desert rats?
Yeah, I think it is.
So
Yeah.
he wanted to build a list to honour him, which I think that's amazing. That's really cool. I really
It's
like
brilliant.
that.
Fantastic.
A lot of my family fought in the war, but no one talks about it. So I think a lot of the knowledge has been lost.
Were
Yeah,
they
they
German?
fought the Nazis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you are the devil of bolt action.
Fuck's sake. So anyway, he also complained, loved the show, and the gap between shows was too much. And I think 1 a month's about right. I don't think we could do much more if we actually tried.
Well,
think the quality will probably
there is
drop.
some good news for March.
Yeah, because we've got Cambridge coming up and another tournament, the British Boxing League, a week afterwards. We're going to be quite punchy this month. We might even get 2 out in 1 month. We'll see how it goes. So that's some good news. But yeah, so advice for what sort of list to take with, so which sort of desert rat list, what sort of tournament you take. So this one landed on my desk because I play Brits. I'm going to be really boring and say, if you want to do a desert rat list, the obvious choice is an Indian Armoured Platoon.
Yeah.
It is, I know, the Desert War was, is famous for its armoured conflict, taking things like cruisers and, is it Grant or the Lee? Which one's the British one?
Oh,
The
God.
Lee.
Oh
Lee?
yes,
Is it
I
the
think
Lee?
it's the Lee. Yeah.
Take whichever the British one is. Some cruisers maybe, add in a couple of trucks with all your dudes in. You can make some pretty nice lists out of that. That's the general direction I would go in.
Yeah, it's hard to say in a way, because if he's going to do it as a theme, then actually whether it's good or not is the less important thing. And actually, I think his idea for wanting to do a sort of almost a tribute list, sort of, if you want to turn the cheese up on that, you lose the tribute element of it. Just go with lots of vehicles. You can't really go wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things I would recommend is if he wants to do it in honor of his dad, if he knows what obviously he will, but if you know what your dad did in the war, if he was a private, or if he was an NCO, or if he was part of a tank platoon, or if he was a driver, something like that, build it around him and put him in your list and make everything themed around your dad. I think that's the best way to go.
If you decide that taking 5 25-pounders is really good, just pretend he was an artilleryman. No one's going to question your family history. So just be like, oh yeah,
If you find out he was a machine gunner on a machine gun team, that's what Photoshop is for. Scan it in, change that to how it's a general. Done. Because machine guns suck.
The nice thing about the Desert Rats is, they fought in the Desert War, yes, but I believe, now don't quote me on this, my source is great, that they also got redeployed to Italy or Normandy, one of the two. So they did get
It was
redeployed.
Normandy, I think. I think they fought in Normandy.
Yes, they did get redeployed. So you got two different areas to aim for, and genuinely because the Desert Rats are quite a famous one, and it's one that, at least being in Britain, it's one that gets mentioned quite a lot. It's probably got a lot more information behind it that you can work from.
Well, they were almost the first ones to turn the tide on Rommel and Hitler in the Western theatre, weren't they? So they're quite a big part of our history.
I do think if you want us to tone a list up, or we can't really design a list from scratch. That's not really what we do. So if you just come to us and go, "Oh, give me a dirty list," that won't help you, because it won't be a list that's for you. It won't be your list, and it won't really help us because we can sit there build lists as cows come home. It doesn't necessarily do anything. But if you come up with a cinch point or an idea, so you say, "I want to build a tank list," or "I want to build a desert list themed around this," that's good, because that's something to play with. That's something pliable. We can then go, okay, let's theme that. But you need to start somewhere. So I think
you need to give us a list that you have in mind, and we'll take it from there. Don't just come empty-handed and say, "Can I have a nice list, please, sir?"
Please, sir, may I have more cheese?
And I mean, when you start with your Desert Rats, don't forget it was just an armoured division, so start probably armoured.
That's why I say Indian Armoured Platoon. It's annoying, but it's if you wanted to go to a tournament with a Desert Rat list, it'd probably be the way to go.
Yeah, it is.
Also, make sure you take pictures and send it as when you've got all your army pretty. That's the one rule. We demand pictures.
Yeah.
Any other feedback?
So someone was asking us about Easy Army. So we've talked about Easy Army a little bit before, and we just wanted to say, so if you don't know what it is, there's an online resource. It's called Easy Army, and it's condensed all of the different theatre selectors and units and army lists from all of the different source books into a like an app that generates lists for you, tells you what you can and can't take. And on the whole, it's a brilliant resource. The guys produced it. It's free. It's most of the time pretty accurate as well, and it's a really useful thing just for checking stuff up. So if I open a tab on my computer now, I can type Easy Army into the bar. I'm going to literally do it as we talk, and I've appeared it up. It's logged me in, and if I want to look for a unit, I'm going to select British Armoured Platoon, click down, and I can pick any unit that I want, and it'll tell me the points for it and its special rules. And you can also print out. So a lot of people who go to tournaments bring the Easy Army app printouts, because it's just really effective and it has a rules summary. So if you don't know really well, and if you don't own all of the different source materials and extra books, it's a really brilliant thing. But we do just have one word of warning, which is that because it's updated by people and not a computer, and because people can be wrong, you do need to check everything that Easy Army says against a book if you can, particularly with tournaments, because Easy Army, on a fair few things, is wrong. Just flat out, completely incorrect. Sometimes it'll be something like just a unit is actually 2 or 3 points more expensive, but sometimes it'll be giving a unit a rule that it doesn't have. Or actually more commonly, not including a unit option in a theatre selector where actually it is an option.
Sometimes it could be something as small as a weapon option as well. It can take a Panzerfaust, and that's not on the Easy.
So Easy Army is a brilliant resource. We recommend it. All of us have used it or do use it, I think, and we recommend it. It's brilliant. If we don't know if he does, but if the person who created it is listening, excellent job. It's an amazing thing. But just be careful
me as well.
Yeah, just be very careful if you're using it to do your list creation for a tournament, because you need to double check it, because it's not always correct.
The way I use it, and what I would suggest, is when you're formulating your ideas about what you want to do, when you're just turning up to your gaming club on a weekly basis, and you're just going, right, I'm going to try and build this list. You know the direction you're going in. That's perfect. That's great. That's fine. When you're practicing, you're working out what works, what doesn't work. That's practice, because you're just doing it for practice. It's just a bit of fun. So if you're a couple of points out here or there, it doesn't really matter.
I was going to say in before Pete. Other sources are available.
Hey, can I say, I am right is I don't use Easy Army that much, because I use an app you can get on the iOS device that I'm a complete slut for. Give me Quartermaster or give me Death.
can also confirm Quartermaster's good. But I would just say, and the same with Quartermaster, some of the points may be off, but just while you're doing that run up, use whatever tool you can find, and it's fine. But when you're making that last tweak, that last submission, that last final bit where this is where I'm finally going to go, pick up a book, because what you don't want is for you finally have worked it all out, you spent all that time, and then you get to your tournament and then you get told off because you're 10 points out, or that you've missed a rule and that's cost you something, or a unit that you thought did one thing doesn't actually do that. So while you're doing your practice, all of that stuff you do up on the run up to an event, yeah, sure, go for it, use easy arm, it's fine, but just make sure you have that, remember to take that final check, because there are some things I wouldn't want anyone to get caught out.
Yeah, and the FAQs as well, because there are not many, but there are a few points changes in that as well, and just a few unit option upgrades and unit rules that they forgot to print or they've printed incorrectly. So just double check that as well.
So we also got a fair bit of people asking for list advice. Long-time listener of the show, Bowie, messaged in. So he was quite funny actually, in that he submitted a list to a tournament and got told it was too Toph.
Legit got told it was too Toph.
He got told it was too Toph. So I'm assuming now that Toph is just a standard unit of measurement across the world for the competitiveness of a bolt action list.
Nice.
So
we can look forward to tournaments where this is a friendly tournament. We want 12 micro Tophs.
Yeah, or this is hardcore balls to the wall tournament. We need you to have 2.4 megatophs.
Yeah.
I think your list is normally about 1.5 Tophs per 1,000 points is pretty good. I'm liking the way this is going. I'm kind of scared that my name is going out across the world as a bell end. But it made me laugh nonetheless. So here's was the question of how do I tone this down?
That's a weird one.
Made me wink a bit and twitch, but it's all
it was a how do I make this less obviously horrible?
Yeah.
I mean, it's Russians. Is there even a way you can make Russians like not horrendous?
Yeah, you just take the regular infantry. So the thing that makes the Russians good is the cheapness and abundance of the inexperienced stuff and the quality of the veteran stuff. So you just don't take anything that's inexperienced or veteran, and you'll have a rubbish army.
They were Germans, by the way, guys.
Was they?
Yeah.
See, you know what I'm on about.
Well, what got me about his message right was he'd been to an event already and got 10th out of 72 people, and it's just like, okay, why is he being told it's too Toph? He only got 10th.
Do you know what? The message that Bo sent in as well, he sent us a picture of the tournament pack, and this is the one with all the restrictions in it. So you can, just a couple of the examples, no special characters, which is standard, tank platoons not allowed, theme list not allowed, one artillery or air observer, and that's artillery piece or air observer, no more than one flamethrower, no more than one vehicle flamethrower, and everything like that. But you can still take 2 platoons. It just didn't make any fucking sense.
In which case, buy a Japanese army, switch to just a horde of spear fighters and drown people in spears.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so bad for the game. I'm not going to go. Let's not go down this route, because if you want to hear my thoughts on this, listen to episode 4.5. But it's just so not what. Whatever.
Everybody's list would just be the same, and it would be no fun. You'd be playing bolt chess action.
Yeah, whatever. Any other messages?
Yeah, so we've had a couple of other names message us. We've had a lad called Brad asking for some advice on the list as well. Richard, and literally as we're recording, a guy called Paul has messaged us from New Zealand, asking for some list advice as well, and just to say that he's listening to the pod and caught up on the last few episodes and loves it. So thank you very much, Paul. As soon as we finish recording, we'll actually read your message properly and respond to it. So
but he does mention here that lives in New Zealand, and then quotes, right, not me, arse of the world south of Tasmania. Just about what we were saying before.
Yeah,
I'd much rather go to New Zealand than Tasmania, though.
Just because you want to go to the Lord of the Rings set.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Yeah. Oh no, I'd love to do it too.
Yeah, it's on my to-do list. Fuck Tasmania.
We're taking the hobbits to Isengard.
Yeah, Tasmania's
I
got
don't know.
fucking Devon. They killed that off, so who gives a shit?
Good as Lord of the Rings is it as good as Taz of Tasmania?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Lord of the Rings is a cinematic masterpiece, the likes of which we will not see in our time again.
Yeah.
Tasmania
Come
could
to a land that's way under down under. It's gonna be
Until
a
they
pain
do Lord of the
rain
Rings on
shine.
Amazon.
Diddle-a-doo-doo-doo, diddle-a-doo-doo-doo.
Taz of Tasmania.
We also got a message from friend of the cast Will. Now I played Will at Cambridge last year, and we've got a bit of a frenemy set up now. We keep meeting each other at tournaments, and it's always a really tight game. And shouts out to Will. He's one of my favourite competitive players. So when last time we met, we was at the Imps Open, is the tournament run by Gaz last year, and we actually played. It was one of those games where it was very shifty. Not much happened, but it was very intense. You know, when you're trying to outthink each other, and it's just it's very much coming down to the wire. And on the last turn, it all flipped in Will's direction. He actually managed to kill a couple of my key units off and win the game. Only for us to notice right at the end that he'd put all of his order dice back in the bag, including his dead ones.
Oh no!
Which ruined the entire game, because then obviously it messed up the pull order, it messed up everything. And so then we tried to, we pulled the T over, oh my god, what do? We tried to reset it, but obviously when you've done an entire turn's worth of movement, it's really difficult to know what was where, and this is when we were playing sectors, so it's which side was off the edge was you on. It was really, so in the end, and this was top table, Will would have won this tournament if he had won, which he probably did. But
Yeah, because I won that tournament, didn't I? It was Imps, I think it was.
Yeah.
I won that only because he threw that last turn to say, "Yeah, I fucked up. I'll give you the draw," or whatever it was.
He put his hand up and went, "I fucked up. I'll concede a draw." And
Yeah.
you know what? For a guy to actually put his hand up and just go, you know what? I'm going to sacrifice winning a tournament in the name of like good sportsmanship. He is top dog. And I'll tell
you
what,
wouldn't have done that. You'd have gone loser.
Best piece of sportsmanship I've seen at a bolt action event, and because of that, the TO recognised it and went, "Actually, you get a prize too."
At any event, I
Wow.
think I could say.
You know what? I hope he's studying in Britain. I think he comes from America, and I think he's at a university. I hope he's still in the UK, and I hope I meet him at Cambridge next week. And I'll tell you what, Will, if you're listening, you are getting a widget without even having to use the code word. But yeah, he's on about starting a Norwegian platoon.
That's brave.
And he was asking how to do it. So Norway's quite famous for having shit national rules.
They can get skis.
Yeah, great.
Woo!
Do you even have any national rules? Is that what do they get?
I don't know. I don't think they get any.
They all get night vision because it's only daylight for 2 days a year.
They're Axis, right?
Yeah, no, they're allies. No, they're allies.
Allies.
Are they in the France book?
Yes.
Yeah, they will be.
Are they one of the ones that gets the national rule of if you get the first dice, you have to put it back because you're so shit?
Probably. I don't know them very well. I just know they're famous
okay,
for
so
being
here
bad.
we go. Norwegians. They do get the communication breakdown, which is the same one as the French one. They also get fieldcraft, so during setup, any Norwegian unit starting the game hidden may start the game already in ambush. In
That's
addition, the
good.
first turn of the game, all Norwegian infantry units treat all rough ground and obstacles as open ground for the purpose of movement. Basically, copy-paste from the native irregulars.
Mm.
And they also nick a bit kind of from the Americans. When outflanking, Norwegian units ignore the -1 modifier for the order test to come onto the table. So, pretty
Nice.
okay rules.
It's not quite free Arty Observer, free regular infantry squad, and then up and atom, and then prelim bombardment bonus and all that. I don't think they've got many options. But all I would say, and I know someone asked us about Hungarians as well. So when you're playing mindless sort like this, and if you don't have good national rules, a veteran dude is still a veteran dude. A howitzer is still a howitzer, a machine gun tank is still a machine gun tank. So even though you're putting yourself on the back foot by not having one of the nations with such good national rules, you can still do really well. I find the opportunity is still there. I think Paul's from War HQ, he's taken Dutch, and he's actually done quite well for saying they're also another nation that was a bit shit, because he took that army specifically because he went, what's going to be shit that's going to challenge myself, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
So,
and the nice thing to mention about the Norwegian infantry is they get their entire squads can have skis for free. So you may as well take them just in case somebody goes, here's a winterboard, screw you, let's play this.
Yeah.
It'd be good to see something different though. I've never seen a Norwegian list.
No, you don't tend to see a lot of the minor nations.
No, so what I'll say to you, Will, is go for it. The ideas you've emailed me look really cool, so stick with it. Give it some practice. Yeah, do it. It'll be fun. Any final feedback? Anything else we've received? Any more dick jokes?
I mean, that's basically covers what we've had. But I will say, keep sending it in. Don't ask us to make lists for you. We're not here for that, but we can help you out with either toning your list up or toning it down, or any other tactic questions you have. We're here for that.
We can give it a Topher rating.
Yeah.
Once we've established the conversion rate, that's the key point. We don't think we actually know how much a killer Toph is worth yet.
Or even a Pikatoph.
Pikatoph.
That's really small.
Yeah,
That'd
that's
be
the
like-
measurement of Toph's penis.
My penis has a competitive edge in bolt action.
Just the tip. Good night, everyone. Okay, guys, we're on to our final segment for this evening, and because I am a idiot, I misspelt it on the notes, so I'm going to read it from the notes as Mr. Blueby's Hooby Looby. So today we're doing Mr. Blueby's Hooby Looby in association with Sweden.
Scandinavia. Oh dear.
So how did...
Toph can't add, Dan can't spell.
Hooby Looby.
No, but I can do the accents fine. How did everyone get on? Please don't send me hate mail.
Send him hate mail.
My name is Sheffield.
I thought your name was Toph.
Oh, that's the one, yeah. No, because then I'd have to suffer the small penis jokes.
They're not jokes, mate. It's truth.
Ah, that's true.
Yeah, it's fine.
You are disrespecting the legacy of Hobby Lobby here.
What fucking legacy? Is it bad that I actually prefer it being called Hooby Looby than Hobby Lobby?
It's Mr. Blobby's Hobby Lobby.
Listeners, let us know. Do you prefer Hooby Looby or Hobby Lobby?
What does Mr. Blobby's opinion matter on this as well?
Mr. Blobby.
Fuck's sake.
I'll do that in a Swedish accent.
For any of our international viewers, Google Mr. Blobby UK. It is terrifying that was a thing, but it's so funny.
I mean, a lot of our listeners come from the colonies, from Canada and Australia, so hopefully you guys at least know what Mr. Blobby is. You Americans, though, fuck me. Prepare to have your brain raped.
Just look at it and realise that was set up for kids.
Mr. Blobby, Mr. Blobby. Sorry, right, let's go.
Pete, what did you do for your Hobby Lobby?
I painted a mortar team with his spotter and an 8-man vet squad.
Nice. And have you put pictures on the group yet?
No.
That can be your task for this week.
Yeah, because I lead a very, very busy life. I don't get to take a lot of pictures.
As long as
Which
we
is
get
good,
them up by
'cause
the
I'm
time
ugly
this
and
cast uploads, we'll be fine. That's your task for the weekend. Get the pictures in. I'm in a
I'm
similar.
not the only one that's not put any pictures up though, am I?
Yeah, so my Panzer Destroyers are basically good to go, but I've not tufted them and flocked them yet, and the model is not counted as done until the base is done. That won't take me too long, so they should be up once again before this cast launches. So that's good to know, and I've still got so much shit to do before Cambridge. I'm gonna struggle to finish this, guys.
Nah, you won't.
So
Nah, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You can knock it out in 10 minutes.
I'll knock something out in 10 minutes. Don't normally
Twice.
last that long.
Is that after an 8-minute rest?
Aye, that 10 minutes is enough time to go and do one and go put kettle on, make myself a cup of tea.
Why have you gone northern?
He was mentioning a cup of tea.
Do you not want a cup of tea?
I'm alright for now, thanks.
I mean, if you're making one, then sure. But
Come over, I'll make a cup of tea. I'll make a cup of tea. Jeff, have you done any hobby this month?
Yes, but I can't remember what I actually pledged to do. But I know.
God.
Oh, here we go again.
It's alright.
Sheffield's bad memory.
I know that I didn't overpromise, so I couldn't underdeliver. So,
I know what your hobby promise
what was it? Go on.
Your promise was to paint the infantry needed for your
Yes, that was it.
thingy, for your Cambridge list.
Well, that's good because actually I've done that and I've gone a little bit beyond it.
Oh, have you?
So,
how convenient.
Again, I'm in the same boat as the other two and have been a bit lazy and not put up some pictures, but I will promise to put the pictures up tomorrow to prove that I have actually done it. So I'm really just working on my Clarengruppe. So my tanks are done, my truck is done, the 2 squads of infantry are done, the Kettenkrad's done. I don't think I finished the anti-tank rifle actually, but then I've done all the base colours on the Clarengruppe. So
that anti-tank rifle barely counts as infantry.
Oh, I know,
So,
which is why it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't care.
But really,
that anti-Topher rifle is the best thing in his list.
And it was part of a punishment, so you literally have to do it.
Well, it is going to be done because it's pretty simple. It's only 2 guys. But actually, I've also built and half painted a display board for my force as well. So actually, I'm pretty confident I'll be finished probably this week. It have to be this week. What a stupid sentence. It will be finished this week because if it's not, I'm taking unpainted models. And I'm confident it will actually look okay as well. I wasn't happy with the armies I took to previous Cambridges, and while I'm a perfectionist and won't be satisfied that they're finished, I reckon it'll be an all right looking army. I'm reasonably happy with it.
Well, your tanks look really good so far.
Yeah,
it's all an elaborate distraction.
Those tanks are pretty, especially the bases, just to trigger people.
Yeah.
He's based his vehicles.
There is part of me.
Get triggered on that.
There was part of me that really wanted to have 2 of them be 156th and 1 of them be 148th, so that they were all the same tank, but 1 of them was slightly bigger.
No,
even I've got. That's ridiculous.
No.
It would have triggered me as much as everybody else.
You should definitely
by your own army all day. Ah!
You should definitely mock up a couple of pictures to make them look like that, and then put them on the Facebook group.
That was the other thing I've done. I've also made some objective markers, which I haven't done for the previous 2 years, of some, they're little comedy objective markers. And so whoever plays me in the last game, you will get to keep my objective markers.
What?
Because they're going to be a gift, yeah.
Wow, you're not even keeping them?
Oh. I've made a special bonus prize for whoever plays me in round 3.
Wow, you're going above and beyond.
Smash their face and win the tournament. Like, yeah, fuck you! Here's a objective.
That's only if he wins the tournament. If he loses, you're going to throw them at him.
That's giving him far too much credit. That's the person getting wooden spoon getting some.
So does that mean the person who comes second to bottom by just beating Sheffield? Yeah. Like, they may miss out on the spoon, but at least they'll get some cool objectives.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yay. So no, I'm good.
That's good. Dan?
Yeah, I don't know what's come over me, guys. I've been a hobby machine this month.
You are making us all look bad.
I know.
Ridiculous.
So I put some pictures up on our Facebook group of a bunch of vehicles that I painted. So I painted 3 Stuarts, 2 Shermans, 2 Dodge trucks, and 3 Jeeps. And that was just week 1. Week 2, I painted about 60 airborne, so that my double market garden lists are ready to go. And today I've airbrushed about 7 vehicles for transports that I'm going to be using as trucks and heavy field cars for my Germans and Finns, stuff like that. And all I've got left to do on them is just add a bit of rust effect and some weathering onto them, and they'll all be done. So I don't know what I've got left to do even for next month's pledge, but I'll have to find something. So, but I'll put some pictures
I
on.
all of yesterday evening, and all I did was sit and watch 2 episodes of Star Trek Discovery and then went to bed. Because some days I just couldn't be fucked.
That sounds very familiar to my life. Just like, I'll sit down and start painting. All this thing's on.
Do you do the thing I do, where you're sitting there all day at work listening to podcasts and you're getting really raring and your hobby juices are flowing, it's great. Just like, yeah, when I'm going to get home, I'm going to do all of this. And then you get home and you go, no, actually, I'm not going to do any of that.
You get home and you think, right, I'm having my cup of tea first. I'm going to focus, here we go. You sit down with your cup of tea and go, fuck that.
Yeah, the moment I've put my kids to bed, I'm just like, I can't be fucked anymore. I'm done. I'm over. That's the key, guys. You got to fight through that and kill your kids and do more painting.
It's just getting started, I find. For me, if I can push through getting started, then I'll be there
We
for
need
hours.
to do some more like painting nights as a group because I get so much done when I'm sat around a table talking shit with you guys than when it's just me.
Yeah.
So that's
the
another
thing,
tip. If you want to do some, get all your blokes over, get some tunes on or something, and just sit there painting together, and you get so much more done.
I'm quite lucky because when I get in from work, I have about a 45-minute gap from getting into work to having to look after my daughter while the missus cooks dinner and stuff like that. And she's more than happy for me to do the painting in those 45 minutes. So having that 45 minutes every day just means you can churn out so much stuff so quickly. I always set myself a little mission for every day of getting at least one colour done on the little batch of models I've got on my desk, and that helps get through the backlog or the pile really quickly.
That's
I
cool.
need to take that on board because not only with bolt action, I've got a more pile forming with bolt action, but I've got a pile of stuff for other systems that I'm just like, I need to paint it.
Setting yourself mini targets is the best thing. I mean, even like, I think it was the other night, I had about 40 minutes before the football came on, and all I did is I walked upstairs and I had my vehicles all on there. I thought, right, I'm just going to weather all the old rust parts on all the hinges and near the engine blocks and stuff like that. And I just did that, and that was my mission for the day. And then I can put it down, walk away, knowing that I've actually done something and not have to worry about it.
And I was going to say that I've just sent a WhatsApp message to everybody else who's on the podcast of what's currently sat on my desert display board, because it's not bolt action miniatures. So you could all have a laugh at that.
You are allowed to admit that you play other games, Sheffield.
It's just
For those that are going to judge him for it, it's a Primaris Space Marine Repulsor tank.
yes, predictably unpainted, but right now it's the thing that's sat on the display board for Cambridge. So
to be fair, the reason I still haven't like tufted and flocked my minis yet is because I spent so freaking long painting snakes on a Lizardmen Bastillodon that I just hated my life for a week.
Oh, you're
Shit
telling
happens,
me.
you know.
You're telling me. I had a slight delay in these, but I powered them out in the end. But oh my god, I got painting 5 Stormcast, and I was like, these are actually really nice to paint because they're quite large and they're not as fiddly as the bolt action stuff. This is quite nice, and just got carried away.
you do appreciate the Citadel miniatures more after you've painted bolt action stuff. It's just so different.
I prefer painting bolt action to Games Workshop stuff. And like Privateer Press stuff. I like it. I just find it so much easier to get decent results.
It's a lot
Much
easier
nicer
to
crank
paint.
an army out.
I prefer the fantasy type models just because I like being able that painting style and the really bright colours and really bright highlights and stuff, and it suits my paint style a bit better. But
the amount of reward,
very quick.
yeah, the amount of reward you get proportional to effort put in on bolt action is massively more than 40k. So if you're an average painter of Games Workshop product and then you paint bolt action, unless you're like one of those weird morons like me who overthinks every tank, actually you can do a really good bolt action army with only a standard level of skills.
And
Yeah,
I'm very
and
standard.
you always find
so.
And you always find the phenomenal looking bolt action armies are those guys that can legitimately paint extremely well.
Well, I've started to take a lot more pride in my bolt action armies now, and they're starting to look really nice. And that's off the back of having one 40k army that I painted beautifully in my demons, and everything else off the back of that. I thought, right, it's all got to be to that standard now, or else you're just doing yourself a disservice. So.
I think you're on the way to a best army award at some point, Dan.
Oh, thanks, mate.
If you keep up the pace you've currently gone, like especially like from your Finns got pretty close, and your Volshamjäger got really cool. So I think just keep at it. You're on your way.
Yeah, the Volshamjäger are excellent.
Yeah, if I can do the rest of the Germans like the Volshamjäger, I'm pretty confident they could get a best paint. Not like a major GT, because there's always the one guy who spends like 4 years painting each individual strand of hair, and it's like, dude, these could be realistic models. They could be like lifelike. You know, it could be like
coming from someone who has a best painted army award on his shelf.
Oh, just
by default.
What do you mean by default?
It's just because you went so heavy on the snow and he said, "Oh, that snow looks good." The actual model above the snow line was terrible.
Snow's a theme.
the nice thing we've seen, at least I've seen with Dan's painting, with knowing him for a while and playing with him for quite a while, and seeing the different levels of painting standard he put on things. The vehicles he's churned out and actually posted on our Facebook page for his bolt action tanks are phenomenal.
Yeah, I think having an airbrush has made me a lot better painter for the tanks, just because I was so bad at painting tanks before. It was literally get the biggest brush I can find, whack a massive blob of paint on it, spread it across it, and then fuck it, that'll do. And now actually having the airbrush has made it a lot quicker to paint them, a lot easier to highlight them. And then with the weathering pigments and stuff, it's so much easier to get a nice looking tank. So that's a lot down to the tools rather than the person using them.
Yeah,
it's really frustrating because I've done mine the old-fashioned method, and while they're okay, Dan's are much better and probably took him half the time. It's really annoying.
Cheers. But I'm at the minute, I'm riding a crest of a wave, so I'm getting so much hobby done at the minute. But I've literally, in the last couple of days, I've downloaded Final Fantasy VIII again on PC because it was on sale.
Oh,
which is
why
a
has
game.
he done that? It's it's the garbage fantasy game. Seven's
great.
Hearts of Iron
Final-
4 was on sale the other week, and I specifically didn't buy it for that exact reason, because I knew I would just play it.
But it was
See,
the
I
very
bought that.
first game. It was the first Final Fantasy game I ever bought, so it's a real blast of nostalgia. Just like when you get Pokemon and stuff like that, it's a real blast from the past. So I know that as soon as I start playing it and get past the first, couple of fights, I'm gonna be like, oh shit, I'm hooked, and my hobby is just gonna plummet. So my pledges will end up being like Toph's was to just paint one model.
see, Toph mentions Hearts of Iron 4 being on sale. I bought that and when it was on sale, which I think was a week and a bit ago, and I've already registered 68 hours. That game is addictive.
Think of all the armies you've painted, Pete.
I know.
It's insane.
You could have one of every army.
You should see my my Warhammer Total War 2 time played stat. It just doesn't bear thinking about.
Mine's in the hundreds of hours on that.
Oh yeah, mine's
think
over
about
600 now.
Yeah, I think mine's about 800.
I'm nearly 1,000 on Company of Heroes too.
Oh Jesus, man!
I know. Right, anyway.
That's because you're just dating grind.
Speaking of progressing,
Think how much more of the tip you could get in rather than playing some heroes.
You might actually get to your shaft.
Get halfway down the shaft, mate. When you get to the end, pop the balls in as well.
Hey, fuck off. What are our pledges for this month? Me, personally, I need to get my Cambridge list done. That's all I'm going to pledge. So that will be finish on my Lorraine Schlepper, and I've got a motorbike to finish, and I've just got some touch-ups from some of my older models that have got a bit chipped and a bit battered over the years, and I want to make them pretty again, ready to go. So very loosey-goosey, but effectively a Schlepper and a bike.
Quick question, though. When are we setting as the next Hobby Lobby installment? Is it going to be on 5.5 or is it going to be on 6?
We'll give it whichever one's closest to a month's time.
Okay,
so if we end up getting an episode out in 2 weeks, we'll give each other a pass. Sound fair?
Cool. Yeah. In that case, then I'm going to pledge to finish my Fallschirmjäger army by then.
Okay. What you got left?
I'm going to go big. I've got to build 20 Ostruppen and spray them, paint them. I've got to do my Opel Blitz, my my Nebelwerfer, my R75 bike. I've just got loads of little odds and sods to put in along with all the infantry. So I'm going to pledge big and hopefully I hit it.
That's mental. That is.
I know.
You've lost your mind. So I'm going to actually pledge just one squad again. However, there is a stretch goal on it, and I've lost my mind because there is an event after Cambridge called the British Bolt Action League, and I think I'm going to try and take the Special Naval Landing Force, which is going to involve painting about 30 dudes. So yeah, when we check back, I might have painted an army by accident. But I'm only going to pledge one squad.
When's this submission for British Bolt Action League?
There isn't one.
Oh, was it not? Thank God for that.
Nope.
Well, that's
There's
what Pete would be doing the night before.
There's nothing in the pack.
He'll be sat there painting SNLF with his Japanese army box just hiding behind him in the background like some sort of horror movie.
It'll be the one
Being closer towards the painting desk.
The IJA will be sat there going, no, just take us. And I'm there like, no, must finish.
Take me, take me,
He'll
take me.
be there at 9 o'clock registration, painting the eyes on. Just going, right, I'm finished. Now I can roll dice.
I'm not
There's not
finished.
a
I'm
paintbrush
Japanese.
thin enough. There's not a paintbrush thin enough to paint those eyes. You need to get one of those single strand brushes.
Well, that got me out of jail for my Swedish intro a minute ago.
I
That's more of a
don't
comment.
paint the eyes because I mainly see it as in every figure. I don't paint the eyes because 1, who the hell looks at the eyes? 2, nobody notices when they're not painted. It doesn't matter.
I've give up on eyes now.
I agree. It's never worth the time. But what I will say, that's more of a commentary on Warlord Games models, not Japanese people themselves.
Yeah, a lot of the models for Warlords, plastic kits especially, the eyes are just not detailed enough to be able to paint them. I don't think.
It doesn't stop Luke.
He's just like, the eye is not there. I will paint the eye where it should be.
And he's still embracing 40k because they've all got about 3 pupils.
Well, you see, the thing with I find with the Warlord miniatures is they're nice miniatures, fairly priced. But if it's a Western face, so it's more European, they get the head right. They get all the shape to it correctly. And I think somebody pointed this out online that if it's anywhere else in the world, they just kind of guess.
Yeah,
Well,
so that'll do approach.
yeah. What's your pledge, Chef?
To complete all of the Cambridge stuff and the display board. But
And
actually,
remember a pledge.
But shut up. But and actually, I think I'll extend that very slightly because I'm also going to build 3 Panzer IIIs that I exchanged some stuff with another mutual friend of all of ours, and I got some more Panzer IIIs, and they're just sat in the boxes at the moment, and I'm going to build them.
Is that where you
So-
dropped your T-34s?
No, I just didn't want them anymore.
Oh, wow.
Do I get mates rates on those T-34s?
Someone's already bought them. They were up for less than an hour.
No!
Less than
I have got
hour.
an IS2.
I've got an IS2. I don't need a second one.
Toph, it's an IS2. You need 2.
Oh yeah, it's like
Yeah,
Katyushas.
like
You need to have 2.
Katyushas.
Yeah, yeah. No. Pete brings up a good point. That's fine. I have to get that shit sorted.
You'll have to win one at Cambridge.
I'll win some. I'll get some. It'll be fine. I'll sort some out. Actually, no. My brother-in-law has said he'll play bolt action if I win him a starter box. That's another recruit. I'm gonna first hit is free. It's fine.
I'm the only one you haven't won a starter box for, so give
You
me
can win your own,
man,
you
mate.
cheesy piece of shit.
He's not won me one. I mean, I give
No.
away so much stuff to you. Like, I never get anything free except pity.
Sheffield, I donated like 8 boards worth of terrain to the club. What the fuck are you talking about?
You know, but that's not to me.
To be,
Basically
Sheffield, Dan Sheffield, don't worry, right? Because it took him quite a while to realise, I didn't give Pete his free hit.
And Pete got his free hit,
Yeah,
as everyone does. The more you whinge, the less free hits you get. Fuck you.
it's true. It's very true.
So anyway, Chef, what do you want me to win for you, since you're going to be right at the bottom of the table and there's no chance of you actually getting anything?
I genuinely got no idea.
Well, it's the thing about it's price support is wonderful, but I tend to find that sometimes they're like, what the hell do I want?
We could get him a subscription to the Juggernaut Bolt Action podcast so he can learn us play better.
Yeah, I can get a rule book.
We'll get you the rule book for Warlords of Airware, and then you'll actually,
Yeah.
possibly get good at something.
Well,
I'd quite
it'd
like
be good
a.
if they have one of them, actually.
Yeah, what, did you not know? I bought one. I have got one.
Did ya?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Really?
I have. Yes. I
Okay.
bought.
Part of my hobby pledge is to play you a game at that and then report back and see how the Warlords of Airware is.
Okay, after Cambridge. Yes, I've been keeping it away from club. I had it at club last on Tuesday this week, but I didn't
That's
get it
probably
out.
for the
because we were all focusing on something else. Yeah.
Okay, right. That sets us up for the next month then. Any final thoughts?
No, it's just,
No.
I find that we're a bit more chilled now we got our rag out of the way.
What the fuck
What
is that? Mr. Blobby's Hobby Lobby.
It is. It's Mr. Blobby.
Mr. Blobby.
That hurt my ears.
Oh,
That
dear.
shit's getting edited out.
Just for a second, I thought someone's phone had gone off. I was about to go,
That's what
right,
I
we'll
thought
cut there,
as
guys.
Oh, fuck Shake Sheffield. You always have to ruin it.
Mr. Blobby improves everything.
And yet he doesn't quite improve my penis size.
Nothing will do that.
Your mum did.
Magnifying glass will.
Oh.
Good night, everyone.
Good.